Hey there, welcome to another episode of Blake's Everyday Podcast. It's kind of late. I just watched Colorado lose, which is unfortunate unfortunate for Colorado. Because they were kind of the idea. The idea was they were pretty much the favorites for the Stanley Cup this year. They just got eliminated by Las Vegas, so it's pretty wild. Yeah, but yeah, they just won the Western Conference final. Las Vegas did. Colorado was eliminated, so between Carolina and Montreal, I'm not sure who's gonna go move on. This year's playoffs have been all over the place, but I don't know. It's crazy. So last night we ended at the end of chapter 2. Tonight we're going to get some chapters in, I'll tell you that much. The title for chapter 3 is The Lord Calls Samuel. The boy Samuel ministered before the Lord under Eli. In those days, the word of the Lord was rare. There were not many visions. One night, Eli, whose eyes were becoming so weak that he could barely see, was lying down in his usual place. The lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the house of the Lord, where the ark of God was. Then the Lord called Samuel. Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." But Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." So he went and lay down. Again, the Lord called Samuel. And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." "My son," Eli said, "I did not call. Go back and lie down." Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. A third time the Lord called, "Samuel." And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called me." Then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, "Go and lie down, and if he calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood there, calling as at the other times, "Samuel, Samuel." Then Samuel said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And the Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will make the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family, from beginning to end. For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain them. Therefore I swore to the house of Eli the guilt. Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrifice or offering." Samuel lay down until morning and then opened the doors of the house of the Lord. He was afraid to tell Eli the vision. But Eli called him and said, "Samuel, my son." Samuel answered, "Here I am." "What was it he said to you?" Eli asked. "Do not hide it from me. May God deal with you, be it very ever so severely, if you hide from me anything he told you." So Samuel told him everything, hiding nothing from him. Then Eli said, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." The Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and he let none of Samuel's words fall to the ground. And all Israel from Dan to Beersheba recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of the Lord. The Lord continued to appear at Shiloh, and there he revealed himself to Samuel through his word, and Samuel's word came to all Israel. Wow. All right. So we got two descriptions here. Chapter 3, verses 1 through 10. Learning to listen to God's voice is an important part of our spiritual growth. God spoke directly to young Samuel, but he also speaks to us through his word. We need to take the time to understand God's truth in the Bible. There we will find the wisdom and direction we need to progress spiritually. Chapter 3, verses 16 through 18. Samuel's honesty is obvious as he tells Eli everything. He even told Eli the devastating truth about the priest's own family and the suffering they would endure. He confronted Eli with his failure, stating clearly the truth God had given him. Such forthrightness must be part and parcel of any spiritual growth plan. As we discover the truth about ourselves and others through knowledge of God's word, we will need to speak that truth to others, confronting them in love for their encouragement and spiritual growth. This will never be easy, but it is an important part of any loving relationship. I like that. All right. So, oh wow. No, that's just, sorry. I'm so distracted. I still can't believe that here we are, and here we are, and Colorado got taken out. It's just nuts. So chapter 4's title is The Philistines Capture the Ark. Now the Israelites went out to fight against the Philistines. The Israelites camped at Ebenezer, and the Philistines at Aphek. The Philistines deployed their forces to meet Israel, and as the battle spread, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 of them on the battlefield. When the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel asked, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the Lord's covenant from Shiloh, so that he may go with us and save us from the hand of our enemies." So the people sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the ark of the covenant of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim, and Eli's two sons. Hophni and Phinehas were there with the ark of the covenant of God. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into the camp, all Israel raised such a great shout that the ground shook. Hearing the uproar, the Philistines asked, "What's all this shouting in the Hebrew camp?" When they learned that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. "A god has come into the camp," they said. "Oh no, nothing like this has happened before. We're doomed. Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? They are the gods who struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. Be strong, Philistines. Be men, or you will be subject to the Hebrews as they have been to you. Be men and fight." So the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. That same day, a Benjamite ran from the battle line and went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on his chair by the side of the road, watching because his heart feared for the ark of God. When the man entered the town and told what had happened, the whole town sent up a cry. Eli heard the outcry and asked, "What is the meaning of this uproar?" The man hurried over to Eli, who was 98 years old and whose eyes had failed so that he could not see. He told Eli, "I have just come from the battle line. I fled from it this very day." Eli asked, "What happened, my son?" The man who brought the news replied, "Israel fled before the Philistines, and the army has suffered heavy losses. Also, your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God has been captured." When he mentioned the ark of God, Eli fell backward off his chair by the side of the gate. His neck was broken, and he died, for he was an old man, and he was heavy. He had led Israel 40 years. His daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant and near the time of delivery when she heard the news that the ark of God had been captured and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead. She went into labor and gave birth, but was overcome by her labor pains. As she was dying, the women attending her said, "Don't despair, you have given birth to a son." But she did not respond or pay any attention. She named the boy Ichabod, saying, The glory has departed from Israel, because of the capture of the ark of God and the deaths of her father-in-law and her husband. She said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." We only have one description here. Eli and his, I guess I should say what verses it's covering. Chapter 4, verses 16 through 22. Eli and his family, and indeed the entire nation of Israel, suffered the terrible consequences of disobedience. Eli and his sons died, and the Ark of the Covenant, the symbol of God's glorious presence with Israel, was captured by foreigners. The despair of Eli's family is illustrated by the final act of his daughter-in-law, who used her final words to name her baby Ichabod. This name means no glory, for the glory of God had departed from Israel. In the hour of her death, she acknowledged the truth of her situation, but it was much too late for her and her family. Life is not easy. Even the best life involves surrender, loss, pain, and difficulty. Yet the solitary death of this young woman and the shattering of Eli's family should remind us of what is at stake if we do not persevere in seeking God and surrendering our lives to Him. Wow. All right. Chapter 5, the Ark in Ashdod and Ekron. After the Philistines had captured the Ark of God, they took it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then they carried the Ark into Dagon's temple and set it beside Dagon. When the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, there was Dagon, fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they arose, there was Dagon, fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. His head and hands had been broken off and were lying on the threshold. Only his body remained. That is why, to this day, neither the priests of Dagon nor any others who enter Dagon's temple at Ashdod step on the threshold. The Lord's hand was heavy on the people of Ashdod and its vicinity. He brought devastation on them and afflicted them with tumors. When the people of Ashdod saw what was happening, they said, "The ark of the God of Israel must not stay here with us, because his hand is heavy on us and on Dagon, our God." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and asked them, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" They answered, "Had the ark of the God of Israel moved to Gath?" So they moved the ark of God of Israel. But after they had moved it, the Lord's hand was against that city, throwing it into a great panic. He afflicted the people of the city, both young and old, and with an outbreak of tumors. So they sent the ark of God to Ekron. As the ark of God was entering Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, "They have brought the ark of the God of Israel around to us to kill us and our people." So they called together all the rulers of the Philistines and said, "Send the ark of the God of Israel away. Let it go back to its own place, or it will kill us and our people." For death had filled the city with panic. God's hand was very heavy on it. Those who did not die were afflicted with tumors, and the outcry of the city went up to heaven. Okay. Chapter 5, verses 1 through 4. The ignoble fate of the Philistine idol Dagon illustrates that Israel's God is greater than all the gods. Anything that controls us has become a god in our lives. We should be encouraged by the fact that God is stronger than any of the false idols we might serve. If we seek God and surrender fully to Him, all false gods we once served will fall face down before Him, setting us free to love the only God worthy of our affection. Chapter 5, verses 6 through 12. Physical suffering was a direct consequence of the disrespect the Philistines showed toward the true God. The parallels to today are unmistakable. By setting up false gods in our lives, we show disrespect to the true God. We also violate God's laws by living selfishly and hurting the people close to us. Many, though not all, who violate God's standards experience physical repercussions. Often it is precisely this suffering that prompts us to seek God's help. So it was with Phineas. Well, with the Philistines. Also Phineas, too, probably. We're going to go ahead and read chapter 6, too. I mean, we're rolling tonight. Yeah, let's see. We read chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, and now we're about to read chapter 6. So, 3, 36. Huh? The title for chapter 6 is The Ark Returned to Israel. When the ark of the Lord had been in Philistine territory 7 months, the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, "What shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us how we should send it back to its place." They answered, "If you return the ark of the God of Israel, do not send it back to him without a gift. By all means, send a guilt offering to him. Then you will be healed, and you will know why his hand has not been lifted from you." The Philistines asked, "What guilt offering should we send to him?" They replied, 5 gold tumors and 5 gold rats, according to the number of the Philistine rulers, because the same plague has struck both you and your rulers. Make models of the tumors and of the rats that are destroying the country, and give glory to Israel's God. Perhaps he will lift his hand from you and your gods and your land. Why do you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh did? When Israel's God dealt harshly with them, did they not send the Israelites out so they could go on their way? Now then, get a new cart ready with 2 cows that have calved and have never been yoked. Hitch the cows to the cart, but take their calves away and pin them up. Take the ark of the Lord and put it on the cart, and in a chest beside it put the gold objects you are sending back to him as a guilt offering. Send it on its way, but keep watching it. If it goes up to its own territory toward Beth Shemesh, then the Lord has brought this great disaster on us. But if it does not, then we will know that it was not his hand that struck us, but that it happened to us by chance. So they did this. They took two such cows and hitched them to the cart and penned up their calves. They placed the ark of the Lord on the cart, and along with it the chest containing the gold rats and the models of the tumors. Then the cows went straight up toward Beth Shemesh, keeping on the road and lowing all the way. They did not turn to the right or to the left. The rulers of the Philistines followed them as far as the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were harvesting their wheat in the valley. And when they looked up and saw the ark, they rejoiced at the sight. The cart came to the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh, and there it stopped beside a large rock. The people chopped up the wood of the cart and sacrificed the cows as a burnt offering to the Lord. The Levites took down the ark of the Lord together with the chest containing the gold objects and placed them on the large rock. On that day, the people of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offerings and made sacrifices to the Lord. The 5 rulers of the Philistines saw all this and then returned that same day to Ekron. These are the gold tumors the Philistines sent as a guilt offering to the Lord, one each for Ashdod, Gaza, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. And the number of the gold rats was according to the number of Philistine towns belonging to the 5 rulers. The fortified towns with their country villages, the large rock on which the Levites set the ark of the Lord is a witness to this day, and the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh. But God struck down some of the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, putting 70 of them to death, because they looked into the ark of the Lord. The people mourned because of the heavy blow the Lord had dealt them. And the people of Beth Shemesh asked, "Who can stand in the presence of the Lord, this holy God? To whom will the ark go up from here?" Then they sent messengers to the people of Kiriath Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have returned the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to your town." So that was the end of chapter 6, but it keeps going into chapter 7. So we're just going to keep reading, then we'll read the descriptions after chapter 7. So the men of Kiriath Jearim came and took up the ark of the Lord. They brought it to Abinadab's house on the hill and consecrated Eleazar his son to guard the ark of the Lord. The ark remained at Kiriath Jearim a long time, 20 years in all. Then all the people of Israel turned back to the Lord. So Samuel said to all the Israelites, "If you are returning to the Lord with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of the foreign gods and the Ashtoreths, and commit yourselves to the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines." So the Israelites put away their Baals and Ashtoreths and served the Lord only. Then Samuel said, "Assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and I will intercede with the Lord for you." When they had assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and there they confessed, "We have sinned against the Lord." Now Samuel was serving as leader of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah, the rulers of the Philistines came up to attack them. When the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, "Do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may rescue us from the hand of the Philistines." Then Samuel took a suckling lamb and sacrificed it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. He cried out to the Lord on Israel's behalf, and the Lord answered him. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to engage Israel in battle. But that day the Lord thundered with loud thunder against the Philistines and threw them into such a panic that they were routed before the Israelites. The men of Israel rushed out of Mizpah and pursued the Philistines, slaughtering them along the way to a point below Beth-kar. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shin. He named it Ebenezer, saying, "Thus far the Lord has helped us." So the Philistines were subdued, and they stopped invading Israel's territory. Throughout Samuel's lifetime, the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines. The towns from Ekron to Gath that the Philistines had captured from Israel were restored to Israel. And Israel delivered the neighboring territory from the hands of the Philistines, and there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel continued as Israel's leader all the days of his life. From year to year, he went on a circuit from Bethel to Gilgal to Mizpah, judging Israel in all those places, but he always went back to Ramah, where his home was. And there he also held court for Israel, and he built an altar there to the Lord. Okay. So we got a lot of descriptions now that we actually read a lot more tonight than I definitely imagined. Chapter 6, verse 19. This seems a harsh judgment, but it carries with it a reminder of the high cost of disobedience. The Israelites in this passage were held accountable to the instructions God had given them regarding the treatment of the ark. Either they were ignorant of these instructions or they chose to ignore them. God has given us instructions for healthy living in the Bible. When we fail to follow God's plan, either out of ignorance or by choice, the consequences will be devastating. Neglecting God's instructions on this occasion proved fatal for this group of Israelites. The same consequence may await us if we fail to listen to God and His Word. Chapter 7, verses 3 through 4. Samuel's exhortation. Samuel's exhortation, I'm just going to say it like that, to the Israelites gives us a clear picture of spiritual renewal. He tells them to get rid of their foreign gods and idols, to determine to obey God, and to worship Him only. Our spiritual renewal begins the same way. First, we must get rid of the idols in our lives, anything that controls us and commands greater loyalty than God. This involves a deep self-examination, an honest assessment of motives and priorities, and admission of our sins and disobedience. Then we must surrender ourselves to God, recognizing our accountability to Him and accepting full responsibility for our lives. Our devotion to God cannot be hidden. We must openly confess and surrender to God. We may need to grieve, forgive, and let go of the past, which includes making restitution for any wrongdoing. Then God can transform us, redirecting our course and making way for a better future. Samuel promised the Israelites that their obedience would result in God's deliverance from the Philistines. We too can rest assured that God will give us a fresh start in life as we use the keys He has given us. I like that. Chapter 7, verses 7 through 11. The people of Israel were helpless as they faced the attacking Philistines. They didn't know what to do, so they turned to Samuel for help. Samuel then did the only thing possible. He asked God for help. God answered by giving Israel an overwhelming victory over the Philistines. This is how our own spiritual renewal begins. We realize that we need God's help, so we turn to Him. We can be sure that God will come through for us if we admit our true condition and surrender our lives to Him. Chapter 7, verse 12. The fact that Samuel set up a stone called Ebenezer, which means stone of help, should remind us of two principles. First, God's help in the past is a promise of help in the future. God offers much more than a one-time antidote. He is a continual remedy and source of strength as we seek spiritual growth. Second, the fact that God's help is available on a daily basis should help us see that we need to look to Him every day. The secret to ongoing spiritual growth is to recognize that it happens day by day, moment by moment. If we depend upon God daily, we will find the strength and grace to endure and to preserve spiritual gains. Wow. Now let's just keep reading. I'm just kidding. I think I gotta call that a night. So chapter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 now. Oh, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 5 chapters. That's pretty wild. Did it though. And I didn't even really talk too much. So, and it's a 31-minute video already, and I didn't really talk. We just pretty much read. Oh. Dear God, we come to you tonight just blessed, Lord. Just so blessed to be able to sit here and read your word, Lord, and to gain spiritually and the knowledge and your power of your word, Lord. And we learn so much from reading your word, Lord. And we want to continue to learn, Lord. And we just pray that you grant us the strength and the protection to continue to read and grow with you, Lord. I pray that you keep your hands over my family and I, and anybody that might be watching this tonight. I pray that you keep your hands over all of us, Lord. And I just pray that if anybody needs your word, I hope they can find this short video or somebody else's short video, or even go to a service tomorrow, Lord, somewhere there's a Bible study, and I pray that they can find it. Dear God, I just pray that you give me a sign, Lord. I prayed the other day for it, and I pray to you tonight. I need it. I want a sign, Lord. I want to follow you, Lord. I want to follow you in every way possible, Lord. I just pray that you point me in the direction that I need to be going. I pray that you show me what I'm needing to do, and I will pursue it. No matter what obstacles in my way, I will pursue your will, Lord. And I just want to thank you for keeping my family safe and food on the table, Lord. And in God's name, amen. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Tonight's trash day, so I got a little while before I can go to bed. I got a bunch of trash to take out, but I hope everybody has a great rest of your night. I will talk to you tomorrow. We'll start off on 1 Samuel chapter 8. So that's pretty exciting. We made it pretty far tonight, and we'll get pretty far tomorrow. Well, we'll see, but that's the idea. Yeah. Have a great night. Good night.